My name is Calvin Brownlee, and this is my story and how it relates to you. I always tell people when I'm telling this story to try to imagine what I'm about to say for themselves. Every time I get in my car or I go anywhere, I have to say a little prayer sometimes that I don't get stopped or have you know, an unruly encounter, because of the color of my skin. I remember one particular time, this has happened many of times, but I remember one particular time, I was coming home from work. Me and my partner, we own a business in Calabasas, California. And like always, I was driving home from work. There is a stoplight there where you can make a legal U-turn. And at that stoplight, I noticed off to my right, there was a police officer in a car. He looks over at me and inside my car, and he noticed that I was driving a nice car, pretty much. So the light turns, I continue to make my legal U-turn, and then maybe about 5 minutes later, I look in my rearview mirror and I see that same police officer now making a U-turn to follow me. I realized he was following me for about 2 miles, and then he puts on his police sirens and pulled me over. At this point, we are in a residential neighborhood, and he approaches my car and he says, what are you doing over here? I've never seen you from around here before. I immediately got nervous, I got scared. I felt like this is a situation that needed to be recorded, so I did. I made the officer aware that he was being recorded, and he did not like that. So then he proceeds to reach in my car, and we are tussling with my phone because he's trying to take my phone from me. And then he starts saying all this other racist stuff, like, why are you around here? I told him that me and my partner owns a business, and he goes like, "Psst, yeah, right." Just a degrading feeling, and I just felt like in my mind I was like, why did it have to escalate to such a situation? And I think the fact that he knew that I was recording, I think he didn't want to become another YouTube incident or another viral moment. So we're tussling with my phone. My phone falls in between my seat, and the next thing you know, I look up and he's pointing the gun at me, and he's saying for me to get out of the car. I don't know why I'm stopped at this point. I don't know. I'm scared. I'm thinking that this guy is about to kill me. I'm about to become another incident, just another name on the list. So I got out the car. He put me in handcuffs. I asked him again why I was being detained, and he told me to shut up, faggot. And made me sit on the curve in handcuffs so that people who drove by could watch me, and I just felt humiliated. So he sat in the car and just he said, he ran my name. He asked my partner's information. Now, mind you, this is like 5:00, 5:30 in the evening, and he pulled me over for what's supposed to be like a routine traffic stop. I'm thinking, what does that take? Like 10, 15 minutes? Now it's an hour and a half, and I'm still sitting in a suit on the curb in handcuffs. He calls my partner. My partner is is at a client event in Calabasas. He has to leave the client event. Now, mind you, he calls my partner on his private cell phone, blocked. My partner arrives, and immediately he pulls my partner to the side and says that, oh, Calvin's unruly, all this just stuff. And what I didn't say is before my partner came, he searched my car. And that's not lawful either. And I'm thinking to myself, is he going to plant something in my car? What? I just thought it was going to be the end, to be honest with you. I didn't know what was going to happen. Everything was happening so fast. So my partner is there. He's talking to him, trying to persuade him to think that I'm being this unruly black dude. And anybody who knows me knows that I'm far from that. So my partner and him come over to me. I'm still sitting in handcuffs, and my partner says, well, he just wants you to erase the video and he will let you go. I said, I'm not erasing the video. So he gave me a fix-it ticket and said that the reason why he pulled me over is because I ran a stop sign. I I felt humiliated, and I felt like, yeah, again, but I mean, this time I had a gun staring at me, and at that point I still had not known really in my mind why he pulled me over. And so the next day, this has happened to me, so many times in my car. I hate driving my car because I just know that I'm going to get pulled over for driving while black. And I don't want to be another one of those people that say, that's telling my story and they're like, oh, another one of those, or you're hypersensitive to black issues. But when you're black, you have to live it. I don't I don't have to tell the story to black people because black people live these, whether it's in a car, whether it's walking down the street, whether it's coming from the store with Skittles, and you're trying to get home. I mean, we don't have to tell these stories, we live it. And so only thing we need from people is when we do tell these stories is a listening ear and to be believed. So the next day, we went to the sheriff's station. I did not want to go because even though I was distraught by the situation, I was kind of numb because this has happened several times in my car. But my partner was like, no, we're not going to roll over. So we went to the sheriff's station the next day, and to my knowledge, I didn't know my partner was recording the whole entire time. So we go there, I make a formal complaint to the sheriff and tell him, he had an assistant officer there listening to my whole entire story. And as I'm telling the story, there is this arm crossing, there is this I don't believe you attitude, or we protect our own, cops, our own members, so to speak, attitude. And I've had friends who are cops in a part of the force, and they always tell me about this blue code of silence, or snitches get stitches mentality, and that's what it felt like when I went in to complain and to file a formal complaint. So he didn't believe me, and I said, I knew you would say that, so I want you to listen to and watch the video. I showed him the video that I had, and all of a sudden his tune changed. He immediately said, okay, the officer is here, we can go into mediation. And I was just, again, thinking to myself, this is what black people have to go through. If I didn't have this proof, if you didn't see it, we would not be believed. And that hurt me just as much as a stop. So the officer comes in as myself, the sheriff, his assistant, and my partner, and now the officer who stops me. He comes in, my partner is former military, and he was a cop as well. And so I let him pretty much do the speaking. And he had his interrogation style questions, and he asked him, he says, why don't you follow Calvin for 2 miles if you gave him a ticket for running the stop sign? That doesn't make a difference. That doesn't make sense. And he had to admit that he pulled me over for racial profiling. He said that he pulled me over because there were black guys in the area that were driving stolen cars. That was all the validation that I needed, because I had what I had. I went through what I went through, and now to hear him actually say that he racially profiled me and to cloak it under there are black guys driving stolen cars in the area, it was BS. And so I left out of there, and thinking that, I was distraught. I was like, I don't know what we're going to do. What is the next step? And my partner goes like this in the car, and he says, I recorded the whole thing. And I was like, I just felt the sense of like, okay, we have something. We have, they messed with the wrong one this time. So I went to court. They didn't show up. I tried to sue, but they said because I didn't have any bodily harm or I didn't get physically assaulted, no attorney wanted to take my case. The sheriff sent me 4 or 5 different letters apologizing. And I think all of this stems as a result of them knowing that they were caught. So how my story relates to you is if you can imagine yourself going through this and having to think about what I went through, I think it can relate to you. And if you can't relate to this story, that says a lot too. It says that you need to speak up, you need to be more aware, and maybe have conversations with other people in your life that are your friends and your family and ask them about situations that they're going through.